Welcome back to The Business Experience Show, where you can learn from others' experiences and successes in business.
Welcome back to the Business Experience Show. I'm Lisa Caprelli, your host. We have Cole Smith. We also have a guest, Kim Calvert, founder of Singular Magazine and the online community SingularCity.com. Welcome, Kim.
Hi.
Tell us about your background and how you started Singular.
Well, probably for the last 20 years or so, I've always been involved in writing, journalism, editing, and mostly working in internet businesses. And when the internet economy crashed in 2000, I went back to school and got a journalism degree and decided that I wanted to, fight for truth, justice, in the American way. So I got a journalism degree at USC. And then when I got out of school, I started working as a consultant with people who were building websites. And one of my customers came to me with this idea of how we wanted to create this calendar for single people, which didn't really sound that exciting to me. I was a single person, had been single for a long time. But then he said, but we're going to put it inside of a magazine. And my ears perked up and I said, yeah, let's do that. So it started from there. It grew from this little idea, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
You sound committed to engaging people, increasing membership, and providing useful content along with fun activities. How does the revenue side of the business work? Do you get sponsorship money?
Well, it's been a really tough go for us because we launched our magazine along with the affiliated social networking community, Singular City, in September of 2008, which is probably the worst time you could think of to launch a brand new magazine with a brand new brand concept. And our whole brand concept was that you should enjoy and celebrate your single life. You know, there's a huge singles industry out there, but most of that is all about fixing you because you're single, matchmaking, consulting you, how we're going to fix you. There's something wrong with you.
In your magazine, you have a specific mission.
Well, it's basically that we just want to represent and be the voice for today's modern single person who is just a normal person who's self-aware, self-confident, and is thriving as a single person. Not that desperate cat lady or eccentric bachelor. Those people are mythological, and we just don't want to, continue believing that that's true anymore.
What was the concept? Was that the concept originally?
Well, I think my business partner had a different idea. He was thinking more in line of the traditional singles industry.
Right.
But for me, I had my own personal epiphany at the same time. I used to belong to this women's networking group, and we would get together every week to talk about how we were reaching our goals and support each other. And there was about 15 women in that group, and only about 3 of them were married. And I said we would go around the room and share what we had done that week to move further to becoming successful. I realized that all of the unmarried women were explaining why and giving excuses as to what they had done to get unsingle. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't get my profile on Match, and I didn't do this, and I haven't delivered that ultimatum to the long-term boyfriend about the proposal. This is really crazy. Why are we apologizing for being single? Why are we feeling bad about being single when everything else in our life is so great? So I realized that there's really this negative stereotype, and you see it in movies, and we've just kind of bought into this old idea that single is bad and married is good, and it's not necessarily so.
Right. No, I totally agree. But when did you start the magazine? How long ago was it?
Well, our first issue came out in September of 2008, along with the SingularCity.com website.
Okay.
And we probably prepared, I think it was probably about 8 months that we had to come up with a name, we had to do the logo, we had to do a prototype. There were actually 8 months to prepare for something like that and write a business plan.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was kind of a business plan on the go,
And that was a publication offline, or was it online, or was it a combination of both?
The magazine, Singular Magazine, was a print magazine, and then SingularCity.com was a place where the readers would go to, interact with each other. So it was like a social networking community, kind of like a Facebook, but for people who were single people.
Right. So which one was the hardest to complete? I saw your magazines, absolutely beautiful. So that looks like a challenge to get that particular project done. It's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work for me because I came from an internet background, so I could almost kind of do the SingularCity.com part in my sleep. But doing a print magazine was like a vertical learning curve for me. But fortunately, like I said, I went back to USC just a couple years earlier, and I had a lot of great professors who were professional journalists. One, for example, Stephen Randall, who'd been the executive editor at Playboy magazine for about 20 years, was a magazine writing teacher. And I called him up and I said, this is what I'm doing. Can you help me? And so people like that were, they came along and they gave me a lot of really great advice and brought in some other good consultants, some good ones, some bad ones, I must say.
Sure.
It sounds like you eat, breathe, and sleep your business, just like almost every business owner in the country is, especially when they're passionate about it. And you had some growing pains since 2008.
Right.
And what do you do now to drive traffic to your site? SingularCity.com.
Right. What we do, what ended up happening was it became so expensive to produce that big glossy magazine,
right.
and I kind of had a choice of, do I want to downsize it? Do I want to take it from 120 pages to 90 pages? Do
60 pages.
60 pages.
Right.
Do I want to start using newsprint? Do I want to start?
Cost goes down as you get smaller, and then eventually. And how long did you run the magazine?
With the print, it was about a year and a half.
Okay.
And then we
Monthly?
decided to take everything online.
And I have to say the content is really beautiful.
Thank you.
It's very attractive.
Was this monthly, quarterly?
It was every other month for the print magazine.
That's a pretty big task to take on.
But I have to say one thing that even though I have to say the economy was bad, but on the other hand, that was also an advantage because a lot of talent was getting laid off. Like my art director came from Los Angeles Times, the Los Angeles Times magazine, and she was fantastic.
So you found a lot of talent because
that was suddenly laid off, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
How often do you update your online content, Kim?
Well, now the content on the magazine is updated weekly. Every Monday there are new stories. And we also do something called the Singular View, which is our e-newsletter, which we send out to our list, which lets everybody know about the new stories and tells them about the upcoming events and, reminds them to come pay us a visit.
So since 2010, you've pretty much been building the online side of it, correct?
Correct. And we also do events. Live events.
So which is driving traffic? Your events, the website, internet traffic?
I have to say it all works together. It's kind of like a three-legged stool component. Like they all are. It's a synergy that all drives the other thing to go to the next level.
And that's in Los Angeles, right?
In Los Angeles.
So most of your traffic is really regional or local, or do you get international?
Probably about 70% of it is from the Los Angeles area. But now that we're on the internet, of course, we also get people from Japan, Europe, Brazil, oddly enough, of all places.
So when you get them, what do you do with them?
Well, my idea is, first of all, just to get them to come visit. And that sometimes happens when they're doing organic searches on Google or Yahoo. Once they arrive, then I try to get them to come back or sign up for the newsletter or to join the social networking community.
Yeah. What are you giving them to do that? You've got all this great content.
Besides all this great content and the opportunity to meet some really great people online and to also meet them at events. So, single people don't necessarily need to have a significant partner or like a husband or wife, but they are normally pretty sociable people. They like to get out and about, and they want to interact with, other professional, fun, single people that they can, relate to.
So, Lisa, you're running this business. I'm sorry, not Lisa.
Kim.
Kim, you run this business by yourself.
Well, I do have a website designer that helps me part-time.
Oh, that's nice.
And I have someone else, another laid-off person, who helps me with my database and the weekly newsletter, and then a couple of interns. But basically, I'm pretty much doing it all by myself. I would love to have a bigger team, definitely.
Yeah, what are you doing to try to separate the passion for the business?
Probably not enough.
We need to be working on that side. And I know you're wanting to build it. It's a beautiful website. There's a lot of content.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a number of people out there with the digital age. People are building publications of all types. And if you do not leverage the online piece, you'll get left behind. It's going to be a great idea, but you're not doing anything with it. What do you find is your biggest obstacle right now for your company?
I think the biggest obstacle for me is that just a shortage of resources.
Right.
I just really we burn through a lot of cash at the beginning. If I had that money now, I would certainly invest it much wiser than I did
as
at the
everyone
beginning.
does when they first start.
Is that right?
That's the disadvantage of having an idea and you've got your passion. You're really not sure how much money you're going to need before you get into it. And that happens more often than not. But being in the digital space, you can almost afford to make errors because you can correct them really quick. Advertising is one source of revenue. Selling products and services on there is another revenue. One of the things that I do like from our conversation that we had earlier is these events. If you can capitalize on that events and look at a strategy of driving online traffic, advertisers and sponsors, just finding yourself a strategic partner that will allow you to let you do what you did. You host these events, correct?
Correct.
Do you put a team of people together when you host these events?
Well, they're usually people that are also members of the website community. You know, a lot of our members are really passionate about the community, so they're really anxious to help.
Right. Have you told them that you're looking for advertising and to help support the magazine and those types of things?
Yes, but I think I really need somebody who's like a dedicated professional in order to really, to make the kind of like cover the kind of ground that I need to cover to really. But like, for example, the idea too is that I would love to take this to other cities, so that there's a singular city Los Angeles, singular city Denver, Chicago, New York. And to do that takes time and money.
We first have to monetize the one that you have and make it duplicatable. Once we get that portion done, it's easy to franchise and spread it across to these other cities.
Cole, can you give Kim an example of who a strategic partner would be as she wants to develop more sponsorship dollars?
Some of the simple things that, and once I knew a little more about some of the events, I know we've talked about hotels and some areas around Los Angeles, but those guys could be your strategic partner. Not only are you offline hosting to bring traffic, I'm sure they're selling things at the hotel, correct? But they're also one of those strategic partners that might invest in you, or might actually pay advertising or to sponsor the event, because right now you're asking for that place.
Right.
They're not asking you, you're asking them. So find a way you can trade off services. Hey, I'll bring in this much revenue by having this many guests. Their bar tab is going to be I've been to some of those.
Right.
I mean, they stay there for a while. And food, what might that be? Take a percentage of revenue from what you bring into the event, if you can do that. I mean, there's so many different things. What are some other events and places? I think you said
like, for example, this week we're doing an event at the Skirball Cultural Center. And in a way that's working. They're giving me a certain amount of drink and parking vouchers and stuff. So, I mean, there is a trade. They give me something. I provide that to the members. And there's kind of like this...
I know, but we want to find a way to get her dollars to help grow your site.
The big dollars, the millions of dollars.
Well, we got to start. Here's a great question in
Yes.
one of my training classes that I have, and I love this.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, how much money would you like to make?
To make?
Yes, in your business.
Like in the next year?
Will you tell me? How much do you want to make?
See, do people not? Are they unable to answer
I'm
that question?
I want to answer it for you. No, most people in my classes, they go, I want to make $1 million.
Okay.
Then I'll ask, have you made 700? Have you made 500? No. Have you made 300? No. Have you made 100? A few hands go up. What about 10,000 a month? A few hands go up. So my point to that is your magazine is no different. You've got the passion. You've got to have a revenue model that's built behind it. Take those first steps. Let's get to 10,000 and whatever that's going to help you to generate that.
We'll be right back, Cole, with that information. Great information. We have Kim Calvert, founder of Singular Magazine. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Business Experience Show. You can go to thebusinessexperienceshow.com to find more information or any guests we've had on this show. We'll be right back on Angels Radio, AM 830 KLAA. Are you an entrepreneur who would like to increase your business by becoming more recognizable in your field? Ever considered authoring a book, being on radio, or strengthening your brand, but you haven't yet? Hi, I'm Lisa Caprelli with the Business Experience Show. I can help you remake or revitalize your professional image in ways you only dreamed about or never imagined. Through business, marketing, and networking, I can show you how to put the passion and fun back in what you do. Visit goglossy.com for a free consultation. I would love to help you achieve more. Visit goglossy.com.
Welcome back to the Business Experience Show, where traditional business practices intersect with outside-the-box thinking on the road to success.
Welcome back to the Business Experience Show. We have Kim Calvert of Singular Magazine. Cole, you were talking with Kim before the break.
Yeah, I was just saying that setting a revenue goal for yourself and then backing into it and looking at all the different revenue streams that you could possibly create. But I also know in a conversation that we talked about that's probably one of your biggest challenges, because you have the passion for your business. You've created a beautiful design, you set these events, and you have fun socializing. That's kind of what I gather that you enjoy doing in these particular events. Am I correct?
I think that's correct. I mean, I'm at the core, I'm like an editor. I like the public relations part, like any kind of editor. For any kind of magazine, my relationship is focused on what I can do with my readers. What I don't have anymore is a publisher, or I really never really truly had a publisher, a person who focuses on the relationship with the advertisers, a person who focuses on the revenue models like you're talking about, because that is a particular expertise and specialty. You know, I wouldn't expect a publisher who's a money manager, money maker, advertising guy to be able to create content, write stories, do interviews, manage photo shoots.
I hope not.
But you know what I mean. So
Yes.
I'm missing a crucial person, I think, in my organization.
Yeah, one of the recommendations that I would have for you is write down what it would be to find someone that would handle that, or talk to different people or friends that have worked with funding and financing or marketing partners. See if they do it on a commission basis. There's a number of things that you can do, and I mentioned the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. You are the technician right now, and that's where your life is running this magazine and creating this magazine, and you're the passion. You're the one that makes this whole flavor, rise to
You're
the
the
top.
hat that likes socializing, commingling, and creating content.
And you need to step back from it, and you're going to have to look at it from a business perspective, where you're not only being the passion, but you're also now having to do the business. And as much as we love what we do, if we're going to grow, we have to become a business person. We have to look at the revenue stream, and we have to develop the products around it. And at some point, you can hand it off to someone else. You're not going to want to run this magazine forever. You want to run it, but you don't want to create it. Right? You want to put the foundation in place.
Los Angeles is full of independent sales reps and people looking for good opportunities.
Right. I think, it's just really hard, I think, to find someone with integrity. It has been for me, someone that I feel that I can, trust too, to take care of my baby.
We all have that same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you learn it is your baby, and you want it to grow, and you want to feed it, and you want to get the right people. There's still a lot of people in the marketplace that would love to be a part of a magazine, and they have lots of different talents. And so you're going to have to back away and find maybe some of the people that can help take some of the pressure off of you on the publishing and the creative side, while you find people that have the skill sets to go out and create your strategies, your partners, and be just as creative with how you're going to generate revenues for your company. Creating that first product is really important, so it's duplicatable for you, and find some place to hand that off. And we can help you with that. And there's plenty of people out there.
Like, for example, putting together packages. Explain what you could do
just
with that.
Advertising packages alone, and I'm sure you've probably done things like that, but it's not something that it's a lot of work to create the events.
And I like
Absolutely.
how you always say, Cole, in business, to step back and think of what you can sell that is duplicatable.
Duplicate yourself.
Advertising is duplicatable.
Advertising is absolutely duplicatable.
And there's lots of money out there. You can start small or you can start big.
Here's one thing also that I heard you say, is that there's so much money out there with the advertising agencies, and everyone's fighting for it. You're going to have to put on the big boy pants and big girl pants and say, look, I have to get out there and I'm going to get some. It's this, you've heard the squeaky wheel gets the, you have to do that too. Don't think just because everyone else is getting it, you're not. You have to believe, just like your magazine, that you're going to get it.
See, what I wanted, though, is someone who is good at doing that to do that part and work with me.
Yes.
And in partnership to create.
But you have to have the passion to believe it, to bring that person in. Mm-hmm. You can't just hand it off to the person and expect to do that and trust them at the same time. You're the leader in the company, so you have to set the foundation of what you want. no matter as much as you want to hand it off, it's not that easy. You need to run the business so you can expand it and make it duplicatable and make that franchise in every city.
Right.
Your goal is to franchise it, not to run the location in one city.
So we got lots of work to do. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Oh, more work,
No,
more work.
no, this is the fun part.
This is the
You've
fun
built
part.
the duplicatable system.
So we got to go. Thanks for being with us,
Thank
Kim
you.
Calvert from SingularCity.com. We also had Josh Robert Thompson with us from JRTVoices.com. Thanks for listening. Have a profitable week. For more information or to reach any of our guests, please go to thebusinessexperienceshow.com. The radio show is produced by Brian Gaps. Theme music by Mike Werner. I'm Lisa Caprelli. Thanks, Cole Smith. See you next week on Angels Radio, AM 830.